understand that, first and foremost, we've lived in a country where the male have often dominated. The era you talked about, Madam Igbo, right? The Aba Riot women era. That was an era in Nigeria where women, funny enough, and I think this is where media narrative is very important. In that era, women had voices. They fought against the British Empire. You cannot impose on us. Now, that kind of mentoring should have continued consistently, where women understand that you have the voice, you have the capacity, and you can go out there to do it.
So who dropped the ball?
So that said, who dropped the ball? Nobody really dropped the ball as much as this conversation where we're now saying, focus so much about educating women and leaving the boys. In fact, right now, because of a policy I'm working on, I am saying this conversation about girl education, and no boy education, it stops today. You've got to raise the same generation of boys and girls at the same time. You cannot raise a girl to become very sophisticated, highly educated, emotionally intelligent, and then you leave the young man to be where he is. And then eventually when she wants to now advance, where marriage it can be key to your success or failure, you now expose her to somebody who they are not at par. So we must close this gap real quick by ensuring that, one, we need to retrain our boys. And that goes back to women. Women often are those who are supposed to raise children well. But that does not mean we want to encourage absentee fathers. Many fathers also need reorientation. Many fathers do not know what it means to be a father in terms of fatherhood and parenthood. Fatherhood is not parenthood. Fatherhood means you are present in the child's life. Just like you keep saying, mothers are closer to their sons. That's motherhood. Fatherhood means you two must play that game. Parenting is where you are now involved in the direction of how a child should go and what you must do as a father within the home. Because your children will model after you. It is what you model, they will copy. We have raised a society where a father and a mother will buy a computer for a child to enter Yahoo. Now that shift in our cultural psyche when it comes to our cultural values is where the fundamental problem lies. So we must go back and address our fundamental values. And like she rightly stated, I was going to say it before she did, but I'm happy she mentioned it. The media is not pushing out narrative about women's successes. We need to do more of that. If you open the newspaper of today, you will see all the stories. They are too male-centered. I bet you on it. Open all the newspapers in Nigeria today. Go online and see all the stories in Nigeria today. It is too male-centric. Everything about a man does is there. But if you compare the number of, because we actually did that research, if you compare the number of women's stories that are told, they're so few or tucked away somewhere. So that's part of the conversation. A national narrative where the media itself and the churches, the mosque, the traditionalists, they are all having a voice and a platform for women to excel. And most importantly, women must understand that nobody is entitled to anything in this life. The only thing you're entitled to is the air that you breathe. But you see every other thing. Food, you have to work for it. Clothes you wear, you have to work for it. Anything you have to do to survive, you have to work for it. Air is the only free thing we are all entitled to. And if that is the case, it means that going forward, women must take on the mantle themselves to mentor the next generation of girls. I do that a lot. We do a lot of mentoring of many women, internationally, outside Nigeria, and Nigeria is inclusive. You must let the ladies see you lead. Leadership is seen. It is imitated, it is absorbed, it is also integrated and incorporated. So if you don't lead well, the girls will imitate that leadership. So we want to let children go on social media today, see what is happening to the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas. You're seeing a generation where the kind of leading women are exposed to on social media is not what we want. But the question is, why are we also pushing it? Why are we also amplifying it? Why are we giving them attention? It is what you push out in public and everybody engages in it, that's when it becomes a problem. We have the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We have the Child's Right Act. Today, the law says that if you call any child a houseboy or a housegirl, you're in trouble. Yet people don't know that law. So the media needs to equip media literacy of the minds and the psyche of us as a people. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our value system.
Well said.